Everyone, Dr. R here, covering another epi question. So first off, I want to say, before you move on and we dive into this question, push pause and try to answer the question right now. So write down your answer and write down why you think that is the correct answer. It's the best way for us to kind of critique this question. All right, so here is the question lead in. Can we answer this by just looking at the question lead in? Which of the following best describes the group of individuals in the context of research terminology? So not completely, because we need to understand what the 500 are doing. So let's go up to the question stem. A researcher aims to explore the impact of a novel medication on hypertension. So there is a medication, and we're looking at hypertension. Hypertension management among middle-aged men. So that is a characteristic of either the population or the sample or our study. The study involves 500 individuals, so we have 500 people. Right, so I'm going to write that down. We have N equals 500. Age 40 to 60 years old, and they're 40 to 60. And they're diagnosed with hypertension. All of whom have been recruited from a single hospital. So, single hospital. Which of the following best describes the group of 500 individuals in the context of research terminology? So let's go down here and look. Population. Actually, let's look here first. Let's try to go in alphabetical order. So cohort. Is this a cohort, the 500? Well, actually, yeah. So this is a cohort of people. They share characteristics, right? They're 40 to 60 years old. They have hypertension. They all came from a single hospital. So yes, they do. So I'm just going to keep that there. Next thing is control group. So I don't see anything about two groups here. I don't see anything talking about the experimental group and the control group. I don't see anything about the medication and then comparing that to another group. So for me, that control group doesn't make sense. The control group is the one that either gets the placebo or it gets the gold standard drug or the gold standard intervention, which means that it's getting the one that's currently being used, and then we're going to compare it to a novel or a new medication. So this would be the new drug, new or novel medication. So experimental group, once again, I don't see them talking about an experimental group because we're not talking about a control group, so I think that one is out. So let's look at a population. Is this a population? So this really is the question. Is it a population or a sample or a cohort? Well, if this was a population, remember, we have N equals 500, and if this was an entire population, wouldn't it include more than just a single hospital? Wouldn't it include more than 500 people with hypertension that are 40 to 60 years old? So a population would include all individuals that are 40 to 60 and had hypertension. And that is not what's happening. So what we did was, for convenience or for ethical use or for dollar value, for whatever reason, we decided to choose a sample. And this happens quite often, and it's valid, and this is why we do epidemiologic research. So we actually did a sample, and we took 500, and what we're hoping is that this 500 looks a lot like the population. So we're going to have to measure a bunch of the different characteristics about our sample. So we did the 40 to 60, but we might also want to look at ethnicity. We might want to look at all different kinds of factors and to see how they actually measure up and compare with our population. But right now, we're looking at a sample here of 500. Is that a cohort? Well, it is a cohort, but usually a cohort is over time, so there's a time period with it. So this is not incorrect. I do believe population is not correct. This is not incorrect, but it is not the most correct answer. So sample is going to be the most correct. And I think when we're studying for step 1 or we're studying for in-house exams, that there are going to be more than one correct answer, but one is more correct than the other, making sample the correct answer.